The midday heat hung heavy over the small Texas town, wrapping everything in a suffocating haze. Humidity mixed with dust created a thick air that drove most people indoors, seeking refuge under air conditioners. On Main Street, long and straight like an arrow cutting through the heart of town, a sleek black SUV appeared in the distance. Its polished surface gleamed in the sun, creating an illusion of a floating mirage on the blistering asphalt. Officer Darren Mitchell sat in his patrol car, lazily sipping cold coffee from a plastic cup. It had been a slow, uneventful day, no accidents, no violations, just the unrelenting heat and silence. Suddenly, his radar beeped. The screen flashed, 72 miles per hour. The speed limit here was 55. Finally, Darren muttered, setting his cup down with a sharp movement. He flipped on his lights and accelerated, his patrol car roaring to life. The black SUV didn't slow immediately, which only heightened Darren's anticipation. In his mind, no one escaped the police in his town. His lips curled into a slight smirk. Moments like these made the monotony of the job worthwhile. When the SUV finally pulled over, Darren braked hard and stepped out, his movements brisk and deliberate. He adjusted his belt and hat out of habit as he approached the vehicle. The driver's door opened, and a tall man in a tailored dark blue suit stepped out. His confident posture and composed demeanor immediately set him apart. But Darren didn't notice, or perhaps chose not to. "Let's see who thinks they're too important to follow the law," Darren muttered under his breath, walking toward the SUV. "License and registration," Darren barked, his voice stern and mechanical, without even glancing at the man. This was routine. Ask for documents, write the ticket, and move on. However, when the driver handed over his ID, Darren's hand faltered for a split second. His eyes widened as he read the name, General Marcus Lewis. Darren blinked. He'd heard that name before. Marcus Lewis was a decorated military leader, known for his service overseas and his leadership in critical operations. But Darren's momentary recognition quickly gave way to suspicion. "You know you broke the law," Darren snapped, his tone harsher than before, as if to reassert his authority. The general's response was calm and measured. "Speeding." "Yes," he admitted, his tone neutral, devoid of defensiveness. The calmness irritated Darren. In his mind, people like Marcus, powerful, wealthy, celebrated, thought they were above the law. Darren had spent years battling life's unfairness, and to him, Marcus embodied privilege and arrogance. "Step out of the vehicle," Darren ordered, his voice rising. Marcus paused briefly but complied, stepping out with a quiet dignity. Darren's anger bubbled. This was his chance to assert dominance. Grabbing Marcus's wrist, Darren twisted his arm behind his back, preparing to cuff him. "What's this about?" Marcus asked, his voice steady, though his eyes bore into Darren with a calm intensity. The question wasn't defiant, it was precise, deliberate. Darren didn't answer. "We're going to check if you've got anything illegal in the car," he muttered, though he had no grounds for suspicion. This wasn't about procedure anymore. It was personal. Darren was determined to teach Marcus a lesson. At that moment, another police car pulled up. Lieutenant Carlos Mendoza stepped out, his sharp eyes taking in the scene. "Darren, what's going on?" Carlos asked, his tone carrying authority. "Routine stop," Darren grunted, avoiding eye contact. Carlos stepped closer, his eyes narrowing as he recognized the man standing in front of Darren. "Wait, is that General Marcus Lewis?" Carlos's voice dropped, tinged with disbelief. "So what?" Darren snapped, his grip tightening on Marcus's arm. "Darren," Carlos said firmly, "let him go. Do you even know who he is?" "I don't care who he is," Darren shouted, his frustration spilling over. "He's breaking the law, and I'm handling it." Carlos's face hardened. "This isn't about enforcing the law anymore, is it?" he asked, his voice low. "You're stepping into dangerous territory. Darren, let him go before this escalates." But Darren wasn't listening. His mind was clouded with anger, prejudice, and an irrational need to assert control. He grabbed the handcuffs, but before he could lock them, Marcus's calm voice cut through the tension. "This will be your last mistake, Officer Mitchell," Marcus said, his voice measured but firm. "Not because I'm a general, but because I'm a citizen who knows my rights. You're violating them, and there will be consequences." Darren froze. For the first time, uncertainty flickered in his eyes. Marcus's calmness wasn't just unnerving, it was powerful. Darren looked around, noticing for the first time the gathering crowd, their phones raised, recording everything. Carlos stepped forward, pulling out his own phone. "I'm recording this too." "Darren," he said, "stop before you dig yourself into a hole you can't climb out of." Darren's grip loosened. Slowly, he stepped back, his chest heaving with suppressed rage. "Fine," he growled. "You're free to go." Marcus adjusted his suit, his expression unchanging. "I'm not filing a complaint," he said, "but only because I believe in giving people a chance to learn from their mistakes." Darren didn't respond. He turned and stormed back to his patrol car, slamming the door shut. He gripped the steering wheel tightly, his knuckles white. The weight of the crowd's stares was unbearable. He had lost, and he knew it. The video of the incident went viral within hours. Headlines blared, "Police officer targets decorated general," and "Racial bias at a routine traffic stop." News channels replayed the footage on a loop, dissecting every second. Darren's face became a symbol, not of justice, but of systemic prejudice. At the station, Darren's colleagues avoided him. Conversations hushed when he walked into the room. Even his superiors distanced themselves. When Captain Franklin summoned Darren to his office, the air was heavy with finality. "Darren," the captain said, "you're suspended, effective immediately. There will be a full investigation into your conduct. Not just today, but your entire career." Darren's heart sank. He tried to protest, but the captain cut him off. "You've put this department in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons. This isn't just about you anymore." At home, Darren turned on the TV only to see General Marcus Lewis on the screen, speaking in a calm, authoritative tone. "This incident isn't just about me," Marcus said. "It's about the systemic issues we face as a nation. We need reform, accountability, and a commitment to justice for all citizens." Darren's phone buzzed. It was a text from a colleague. "They're digging through your old cases. Be prepared." The walls closed in. Darren had spent years enforcing the law, but now the law was closing in on him. He sat in silence, the weight of his actions pressing down on him. He had lost not just the confrontation but his sense of authority, respect, and identity. For the first time, Darren realized that his fight wasn't with Marcus Lewis or even the system. It was with himself.